Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking about the ticker HTGM as requested on my Twitter account. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help this channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on. I'm going to go through technical analysis, news, and what I think about the stock at the very end of the short term. Now, at any point, if you feel you're lost in the technical indicators, there's a playlist in the description below that explains each of these technical indicators and what they mean. Let's jump right into it. So on the 1 month, 1 day, we get to see something really bullish here. On the MACD, it looks like it's actually going on towards positive direction, and it's almost on the verge of seeing a positive reversal. On the ADX, it supports in a strong negative trend here for a while, followed by a strong the possibility of a trend forming that is green, so that is a bullish one. William percent R is sitting in closer to overbought, so that is bearish. Momentum seems to be really strong, that is bullish. Volumes is a little bit down. That doesn't give us much, but usually that signifies a bearish movement, but the unbalanced volume lately has been bullish. Now, moving on towards the moving averages, we get to see that the 50 SMA has crossed the 200 SMA in a way that is called the Death Star, where the 200 SMA is now above the 50 SMA, and that is a bearish move. You expect to drop below that. 30 EMA is above 10 SMA, so that is bearish, and the trading action zone is bearish. That means if it does jump into the trading action zone, it's more likely to see a reversal. So all in all, the moving averages on the 1 day perspective is bearish. Now, moving on towards the 1 hour perspective, what we get to see here is a little bit of a similar story, but the MACD here seems to be going on towards a positive direction in a strong sense. ADX shows in it's more going to be trading sideways. William percent R puts it overbought, and the momentum here seems to be a little bit choppy, but still strong. So the only bearish thing about these indicators would be the William percent R and the ADX. Now, on the moving averages perspective, we get to see that the stock price is a little bit mixed, shows in more of a sideways play with the potential of a change in the moving averages, where it does end somewhat more bullish than the day before on the 1 hour perspective. Now, we're going to be taking a quick look into 3 months, 1 week on the MACD alone, and we get to see that it actually looks quite bearish, and it looks like there, that massive run it's seen around the mid-June is done. And you get to see the negative reversal is seen somewhere around 16th of August, a week to the 9th of August, and you get to see ever since then and going in a little bit down. Now, on the moving averages, we get to see that the stock hasn't been trading in the moving averages for a while, but for the sake of the argument, the bottom band of the moving averages is at the 34 cent, in the middle is 36, and on the top is at the 42. Now, looking at the charts, we're going to do quickly Fibonacci retracements, and we're going to be identifying where the supports and resistances. Significant resistance on the Fibonacci retracements is at the 42 cents. Now, if we were to look at significant supports at the current level, the current price is at the 32 cents, so we're looking at the 31 cents, and then below that we're looking at 30-ish cents one as well, and then below that we're looking at the 29, and then we get to see all the way to 26.7. Coming in towards the resistances, we get to see a resistance at the 33 cent, and then one at the 34, and then one at the 35, then we're seeing one at the 36, and then we're seeing one at the 37, and you get to see it's almost 1 cent up, and each of these are quite significant. Now, the one pattern that I get to see here, and I recognize right on, you get to see that it is probably sitting in more of a double bottom. Now, of course, this is more if you look at it from this perspective, and so you might see a little bit of a spike coming in a little bit sooner or later, but it does need to still accumulate on. Now, moving on towards the latest news and what I think about the stock. Jumping in towards this, we get to see a little bit of mixed things going on. Of course, they have until December 14th for compliance for 2020 to reach above $1. Now, in terms of institutional shares, it looks like it's a little bit of a mixed sentiment, and nothing seems to be significant at all, or any shares traded in institutional values in large quantities for September. Moving on, there's 2 conferences and 2 catalysts they have, which would include the September 15th one and the September 16th one on H.C. Wainworth 22nd Annual Global Investment Conference and the Cantor Fitzgerald Global Healthcare Conference, respectively. Moving forward, you get to see as well that they do have around 11.2 million shares that are being proposed to be offered at a maximum aggregate price of around 0.4572. I've seen this before where a company does release this but never goes around an offering, or it is more about warrants and whatnot, but this one still has a risk of additional capital. Now, the other thing that is looking on here is that approval of the reverse split. Company stockholder approved a series of alternative amendments into our amended restated certificate incorporations. In effect, the option of the board, a reverse split of our common stock, a ratio between 1:7 and 1:15, inclusive and determined board in its sole discretion. The final voting results are as following, and we get to see it passed. Although they have until December in order to get compliance, so technically the latest they can go for a reverse split would be somewhere in November. Now, in terms of cash and cash equivalent, we get to see that they have around 21 million in cash. Meanwhile, their losses is around 5 million or 5.7 million. So they have enough cash to get them without any need of offerings in the future. You get to see in terms of the losses, net loss per diluted shares looks better, but the total overall loss is higher. Now, if you're looking at revenues, we get to see a lot less revenue compared to what they had previously, but that is based on the company's structure and with COVID-19 hitting. Now, going on towards the latest information put on their website, we get to see that they did have a conference on September 8th to present the corporate overview at a fall investor conference. We are to get to see here, for instance, some of their services and laboratory services. I'm not going to go in very much details on it, but they basically have input, sample logistics, laboratory, and data. You get to see that you do have different publications, including peer-reviewed article publications, webinars, abstracts, white papers, and posters. We get to see, for instance, things like on here the archives presentation, and it shows you basically the HTG is a precision medicine company based on HTG EdgeSeq technologies for RNA and NGS. So what are some of the products that they have? Well, they do have the RNA kind of protein developments for their own products. So basically they have small sample requirements, they have highly multiplexed sensitivity of target sequence technology, and they create a simplified workflow. They have customer examples including the Meade Anderson Cancer Center, Perelman School of Medicine, Mount Sinai, and you're looking at other 85 plus active programs that are doubled since 2018. It includes multiple top 10 biopharma partners. And you get to see as well, there is a lot of growth opportunity here for direct revenues as either instrument, reagent, or service revenue for the VRO. There is a lot of potential that it looks like for this company in the future. You get to see for Q3 and Q4 head-to-head study against RNA sequence and early access partnership program rollout, respectively. There is a lot in a mouthful here. I'm very sorry for going a little bit too fast, trying to make these videos as short as possible. We get to see as well that there is different steps along the way, from translation profiling business growth to biopharma services business growth opportunity and clinical diagnostic business growth opportunity. There is quite a bit, and you get to see some of the PRs that could be out there as cohort identification contracting, near transcriptome panel, cohort identification and contracting. You get to see a bunch of it more. Let's move on. So this is the conferences that I was referring to. Now, what do I think about the stock and the future for it? Now, here is the bullish things to some about the stock. One, it is at a double bottom. It's close to the 52-week high, so that is close to the 52-week high. The third one is on the 1 hour perspective. We get to see that it's actually perhaps seeing a positive reversal sometime soon. Now, what are the bearish things about this one here is the moving averages on the 1 day perspective are really bearish. On the 1 week perspective, we get to see that there's a strong negative trend here happening, supported by the ADX on the 1 week perspective. So that is too bearish for three bearish for 2 bullish. Now, if we were to look at different catalysts coming up, nothing seems to be strong, so we're sitting in basically only at price point versus technical analysis. There is a reverse split coming and a potential, well, I wouldn't say a potential offering because they have a lot of cash, so disregard that, but the reverse split would perhaps come in sometime later on this year. So I would say it would probably be a short-term trade. So on the short-term trade, this has a potential of bouncing back from a double bottom closer to the 52-week low. Now, it is a little bit of a risky play because you can also see it kind of break through down, and that is a dangerous one. But for this one here, I would say between a bearish and a bullish signs. This might be a speculative hold. It might be interesting to hold for this one. I wouldn't sell as of right now because you're really close to the 2-week low. But if you're putting in money here, be expecting that you might end up losing some money, because there is a reward versus risk on this one, and the reward versus risk is quite high for this one. Now, what do you think about this ticker? Make sure you mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day.